Hi, everyone. So, who believes in ghosts and who believes in UFOs and extraterrestrials? So, for some reason this morning, I was awakened, and one of the first thoughts I had was that it is time to share my story. And I think it's just because things on Earth are changing so quickly that before too long, people are going to have the concrete evidence of these things thrown in your face. um, and I've hinted at this and talked about it little bits here and there over time, over the years. And so I've had friends inquiring. So I thought today is the day to shed some information about my experience growing up and to the current day with spirits, extraterrestrials, and also just energy work in general. Little ET mug. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put up a video. I'm thinking, if I can, I'm not technical, a compilation of photos like this. Okay. And on that is our old house in Marion, and also 3 images that I had Grok, which is the AI program of X, create for me based on my instructions. So, first of all, let's talk about spirits and haunted houses. So, our house that I grew up in since 2nd grade in Marion was haunted. It was haunted from the day we moved in. It just was. So, we had lots of experiences, and I'm going to tell you about some of those. So, for instance, we would all be in a room together or we'd all be asleep, and you would hear super heavy footsteps just run down the stairs and out the door and slam the door. Now, mind you, the door was already shut and locked, but that was what we heard, was someone running down the stairs really heavy. And we'd all wake up and we'd run to see what had happened, and there wouldn't be anybody there. And of course, the door would be closed. We had a bathroom. Our main bathroom was upstairs in the hallway, and it had 2 doors, one in the kitchen corner and one in the hallway. And twice, on 2 occasions, when I was in the shower, at one door in the kitchen and then another in the hallway, I heard something and looked out and saw a tall, dark, shadowy figure as tall as the door standing there looking at me. And then it would again run down the stairs and run out the door. Freaked me out. Oh my God, I hated showers. I was like the movie Psycho. Oh my gosh, I hated showers. Eventually, Mom and Dad got glass doors, but that was after we moved out. So some other things that happened in that house was one time Mom and Dad were at their bowling league, and the 3 of us kids were home. We were all asleep in our bedrooms. My bedroom at that time happened to be in the basement. Oh yes, the scary basement, because a lot of things happen in basements. My electric guitar at the time was out in the family room on its stand. We were all asleep. I heard something. I went upstairs to get my sister and brother, and I think my sister ended up getting a butcher knife. One of us had a knife in our hands, and we were creeping down the stairs, and literally the ghost spirit ran in front of us across this opening to the stairs, and then we heard it as it went by to the right knock over the guitar. We ran out of that house so fast, screaming. We ran across the street to the neighbor's house, and they took us in and kept care of us until Mom and Dad could get home from the bowling alley. That was terrifying. Another time, we were all out back having a picnic, a cookout, which we didn't do very often. I think we had a special visitor that day. And someone had gone into the house and called out the kitchen window, "Hey, why'd y'all light all the candles in the house?" Well, someone had lit all the candles, and we were all outside. None of us had lit the candles. Who did that? And another time, walking down the stairs, and you saw the full figure of a man on the living room wall. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. As kids, we had played with Ouija boards, and at the time, we didn't understand that they could open portals to other energies and other dimensions. We were just playing with Ouija boards. Mom and Dad were into metaphysical things. They even took some ESP classes, because back in the 70s, that was a big thing over at Ohio State Marion there at that institute right there on the left beside Kroger and that plaza. Um, so, you know, our family believed in metaphysical things. We believed in spirit and energy. So while it was scary, we also understood and you know, knew that it was definitely happening. So these Ouija boards, we thought mom and dad had gotten rid of them. But come to find out, when they passed, the Ouija boards were found in the house above the hallway, the scary darn hallway. The hallway that led from the stairs, from the living room to the 3 bedrooms at the back of the house, and that had the bathroom door in the middle. So the Ouija boards were like right above that hallway. That hallway was so scary. We left the light on a lot. If mom and dad weren't home, I wanted that light on because I hated that hallway. It felt so bad. I also understand that some of the energies in the house later on may have been poltergeist activity, because when you have teenagers, there's hormonal activity that happens when we don't get a good release of our energies. If there's emotional trauma, which there was a lot of emotional stuff going on, it can build and build and build, and it can create these storms of energies that are unable to dissipate. And at the time, we didn't understand that part of it, and we didn't know that we needed to clear the house. Nowadays, we understand we can go through with sage, we can use energy work, we can use sound to clear a home, to clear rooms. We can use directions from God to clear the rooms, but we didn't really understand that, or it didn't sink in that we should be doing that at the house. So that's just some of it. And another time, I don't know if I'm remembering this the exact way it happened as far as the pills. This is such a cool story. This is where a pill bottle traveled through the ethers. We were all sitting in the kitchen, and I can't remember if mom and dad said their pill bottle was missing, or if my relative called and said their pill bottle was missing. But what happened was the pill bottle showed up at either our place or their place, 5 hours away at that time. We hadn't visited each other. We were just, and I can't remember if the pill bottle showed up on our table or if mom and dad's pill bottle showed up on the relative's table. But that happened, and we were freaking out because we hadn't experienced where something transmuted through the ethers before. So that was really new. So anyways, that is just a small selection of the energetic ghost spirit stories that happened at that house there. It was really scary. Even going back as an adult, I would take my dog with me and make sure my dog stayed with me in the room because, man, you know, I just didn't want to experience that. And I would leave the lights on outside in the family room and all of that. So anyways, moving on, let's talk about extraterrestrials and UFO experiences there in Marion. So Marion used to be, where we lived in Grandview, was an Army depot. There were munitions and supplies there. Our neighborhood was built where there were munitions and supplies. And I do understand that a lot of extraterrestrial activity happens around government facilities. Now, at the time we were living there, of course, that was all gone. There were still old buildings and stuff across Pole Lane where munitions and things were housed, but we were built on the land where those facilities weren't there anymore. But one of my first remembrances is being at the shopping center there on, I think it's 95, where the bowling alley is. In that shopping center, the Mexican restaurant used to be an old Kroger's there. There's a Red Lobster in the front of the parking area there. We were getting out of the car to go to the grocery store, and there was a cigar-shaped silver UFO hovering above the far end of the shopping center. And it was me, Mom, Brenda, probably my brother too, because we were going grocery shopping, and back then you took all the kids with you. So that was a great experience. It was just unique. We looked at it. We weren't freaked out. We were just like, oh, hey, look, it's a UFO. Cool. Cigar shaped. Cool. You know. Then there's a picture there that I had Grok create of a UFO over a railroad track. Yes, we really saw that on Pole Lane Road there at the railroad tracks before the park. So if you're coming from Marion, Pole Lane Road towards Grandview, and there's those, the hardware store, the Travser Pool, all that little area of shops. We were stopped at the railroad crossing there. There was not a train because Otherwise, the UFO wouldn't be there. But on that side where those buildings were and the manufacturing facilities and stuff, there to the left was a UFO just hovering above the train tracks, not doing anything, just hovering there. So yeah, we saw that. There's a picture that I depicted on there from Grok of a saucer with 3 glowing beings standing in front of it. I specifically saw that in our backyard. It was not a dream. I remember it. My sister also remembers seeing that same thing. But oftentimes when she saw it, the saucer was on the other side of the tree. So if you look at the picture of the house and look behind it, there's this really big tree. Sorry, I have a hair tickling me. Really big tree, and that's where the saucer was. The time I remember seeing it, it was to the right of the tree, and below it, the house behind it was the Hatfields. And I distinctly remember we were all in the family room in the basement watching TV. Brenda and her fiance were sitting in the chair by the sliding glass doors. I looked out the window and saw that scene of the silver saucer with the green glowing beings. I assume the glowing beings were in exosuits of some kind to help with the atmosphere or whatever. And I saw them begin walking towards our home, and I remember being very afraid. And that's all I remember about that. But again, I know that it happened. It's very real. It's not just a dream. You just know, you know. So, and the final story I will tell you is a story of abduction. So another of the photos is one I had Grok make of a woman in a car with 2 girls in the back seat. So my family, we were driving between Marion and Delaware. So we were coming from Delaware to Marion. My brother and stepdad were in the front vehicle. Well, they were in a vehicle. They were separate from us women, the mom and us 2 young girls. And at the time I would have been like 2nd grade, and my sister would have then been about 4th grade. We were driving north to Marion, and we disappeared out of view of Dad and Bill. So they found us evidently about a half hour later on the other side of the road heading south at the rest area, and we didn't know what had happened. So it had always been talked about that perhaps we had been abducted. That's what we all felt, and that's what we believed, that there was missing time there. So, of course, I have many friends who are psychic intuitives. I've also had some Akashic record readings and different contacts with different people who really understand energy. And they say, absolutely, yes, you were abducted. Now, that doesn't strike fear in me because you know what? There are millions of people on this planet who say they were abducted. And that's just the way it is. I know people are going to scoff and laugh and go, that doesn't happen. But you don't know until you know. So take what resonates. And if you don't believe me, that's cool too. Because, you know, I probably wouldn't have believed in this stuff either if I hadn't experienced it. So then you say, well, Linda, how does this all lead to what you do now? Well, because it taught me that there's more to life than what we see. Some people don't ever see spirit, but they still believe, or they don't believe. Some people do see extraterrestrials and UFOs. Others don't, so they don't believe. And that's okay. But I do believe that there are so many energies around out there that we just don't even understand. And energy healing, I don't have to understand all the science behind it, or sound healing, but there is starting to be science. But I understand that there is so much that energy does that we don't even understand. If energy can create a poltergeist energy in your house, then it can also be used for love and compassion and goodness, which is what Reiki and sound healing and things like that are, with fabulous loving intentions. So belief in other things energetically led me to accepting that there are these other things that can be done with energy healing, sound healing. So that's just how it kind of all weaves together. So for those of you who ever wondered, hey, Linda, why do you believe in ghosts? Why do you believe in extraterrestrials? Why do you kind of do what you do? Well, I believe in God. I believe in love. I believe in Creator. I believe in that there's more to the universe than meets the eye. So anyways, hope this explains it all. Bye, y'all.